midst of Florida's Ocala National Forest, a perplexing enigma unfolded, weaving its way into the fabric of true crime history for more than 40 years. On a crisp October day in 1966, 2 women disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a story so confounding that it would push the boundaries of justice and determination. The story of Pam Nader and Nancy Lichner's disappearance has become a gripping cold case, serving as a poignant reminder of lost innocence and the tireless pursuit of truth. Pam Nader and Nancy Lichner, 2 lively individuals of their era, set off on what was supposed to be a relaxing adventure with their partners, Ben Dodderman and Craig Mackey. Their path led to the calm and extensive Ocala National Forest, a destination where the allure of nature assured a day of both thrill and relaxation. The plan was uncomplicated: to immerse themselves in the beauty of Alexander Springs with a blend of picnicking and scuba diving. Yet the whims of fate had other ideas, steering them away from their straightforward plans. Realizing the springs were too shallow for diving, the group made a change of plans. The men went for a hike, leaving Pam and Nancy to enjoy the peaceful picnic area. Little did they know, this seemingly insignificant decision would mark the last time anyone saw the young women. The moment Dodderman and Mackey stepped back into the empty picnic area, a nightmare began to take shape. With Pam and Nancy missing and their possessions abandoned, the eerie silence spoke volumes about their sudden disappearance. What started as a casual assumption that the women had gone for a stroll soon escalated into a deep, unsettling fear that something was terribly wrong. The search launched with a pressing urgency, a fusion of personal resolve and official support. But as hours morphed into days, the dearth of information and the eerie silence of the forest only heightened the distress for everyone involved. The mystery of their absence was as thick and tangled as the underbrush that surrounded them. Initially perceived as a straightforward case of someone gone missing, it rapidly developed into a convoluted scenario filled with mistakes and debates, underscoring the hurdles that law enforcement faced in a time before the advent of digital records and DNA technology. In the immediate aftermath of the disappearance, the local authorities, under the leadership of the enigmatic Sheriff Mcau, initiated a search operation. Unfortunately, the sheriff's office was not equipped to handle the complexities of a missing persons case, with few clues and no witnesses. The early investigation was conducted with a sense of urgency, but it was impeded by a lack of coordination and modern investigative methods. Sheriff Mcau, a feared and revered authority, exercised his power with an unyielding grip. Though his reputation was tarnished by allegations of brutality and racism, his investigative methods were outdated, relying on simplistic theories without substantial evidence. Convinced that Pam and Nancy had run away, Mcau's stubborn adherence to this unfounded hypothesis resulted in the squandering of valuable time. As the tension grew and the runaway theory fell apart under the scrutiny of reality-based evidence by the girls' items remaining at the picnic site, Mcau's attention shifted to the boyfriends, Dodderman and Mackey. This inclination to suspect those nearest to the victims is common in investigations, but it was overshadowed by a significant absence of credible evidence, suggesting a move driven more by desperation than by logical reasoning. Frustrated by the lack of progress and Mcau's unyielding approach, the families of the missing girls decided to take matters into their own hands. They hired private investigators, consulted psychics, and reached out to state and federal authorities, only to face bureaucratic obstacles and resistance from Mcau. It seemed that the sheriff was more interested in maintaining control over the case than in actually solving it. At this point in the investigation, a noticeable separation emerged between the families and law enforcement, leading to a divide filled with sorrow, frustration, and the unsettling thought that justice for Pam and Nancy could slip away. With the passage of years into decades, the case gradually lost its momentum, yet its resonance lingered like a shadow over those affected by the tragedy. Dodderman specifically carried the weight of suspicion and the burden of unanswered questions. Despite the eventual dispelling of doubt through the passage of time and lack of evidence, the cloud of uncertainty never completely lifted, leaving lasting scars that would deeply influence his life. The vanishing of Pam and Nancy remained an enigma for decades, a cold case that appeared unsolvable. Yet, the perseverance of those fighting for justice eventually revealed the truth, bringing about a significant breakthrough. The decades-long investigation took a surprising turn when a man notorious for his heinous crimes confessed to his involvement, leading to a major breakthrough. Gerard J. Schaefer, a former sheriff's deputy in Martin County who had been convicted of murder, was tied to the disappearance of Pam and Nancy. Schaefer, a man with a troubling history of violence towards women, had admitted to the murders of Nader and Lichner to a fellow prisoner. This confession had been tucked away in the inmate's paperwork for years before finally being brought to light. The evidence tying Schaefer to the case was not only persuasive, but was also deeply unsettling. Armed with Schaefer's confession and bolstered by further findings, like personal effects thought to belong to the victims located in his possessions, investigators constructed a harrowing account of the girls' last moments. In spite of the dearth of physical evidence to definitively confirm Schaefer's role, the circumstantial evidence and testimonies provided enough persuasion for the authorities to convict him. The unveiling brought a harsh kind of closure to a case that had been stuck in a fog of uncertainty. Schaefer, murdered in prison in 1995, would never stand trial for the disappearances of Pam and Nancy. Still, the puzzle pieces finally started to connect, shedding light on the questions that had haunted their families, friends, and the community for close to 40 years. Thank you for watching, and please leave your thoughts below, and I'll see you next Friday.